This perspective transforms how you experience struggle. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You learn to ask, what is this preparing me for? That subtle shift changes everything. Financial difficulties become lessons in resourcefulness and prioritization. Relationship conflicts become masterclasses in communication and emotional intelligence. Professional setbacks become laboratories for innovation and skill building. The obstacle doesn't change, but your ability to extract value from it does. This is why some people emerge from challenges stronger, while others emerge bitter. The difference lies in whether they saw themselves as students or victims of their circumstances. History's greatest innovators and leaders all shared this trait. They viewed limitations not as dead ends, but as creative springboards. Where others saw scarcity, they saw the necessity to invent. Where others saw rules, they saw guidelines to reinterpret. Where others saw closed doors, they saw invitations to build their own entryways. This reframing ability didn't eliminate their problems, it made them better problem solvers. When the Wright brothers faced skepticism about human flight, they didn't abandon their vision. They became more meticulous in their experiments. When J.K. Rowling faced rejection after rejection, she didn't decide her work was worthless, she refined her approach. The obstacles became their education. There's also a profound psychological benefit to this approach. It converts frustration into fuel. When you believe challenges exist to strengthen rather than stop you, you stop dreading them and start engaging with them differently. Your nervous system responds not with helplessness, but with focused determination. Neuroscientists call this stress inoculation, the process by which overcoming manageable difficulties builds resilience against future ones. Each obstacle you navigate successfully rewires your brain to handle the next one with more confidence. Over time, you develop what athletes call game speed, the ability to perform at your best not despite pressure, but because of it. This mindset becomes especially crucial when pursuing anything worthwhile. If your goal matters, it will test you, not because the universe is cruel, but because anything meaningful requires growth to attain and sustain. The relationship that deepens your capacity for love will inevitably surface your insecurities to heal them. The business that could generate real wealth will force you to develop financial literacy and emotional control. The impact you hope to make will demand skills you don't yet have. Precisely so, you'll develop them. The obstacles aren't roadblocks on your path, they are the path. Every challenge is whispering the same essential lesson. This is what it takes. Are you willing to become someone who can? The most empowering realization is that you get to choose what your struggles mean about you. The same event that breaks one person becomes the breakthrough for another, not because their circumstances differed, but because their interpretation did. When you stop resisting tests and start embracing them as part of your development, you unlock a fundamental truth. You weren't being prepared for something easy, you were being prepared for something extraordinary. The obstacles were never in your way. They were showing you the way. The most valuable currency we possess isn't money, talent, or connections. It's time. Yet most people squander this non-renewable resource waiting for perfect conditions that will never arrive. They delay action until they feel ready, until the economy improves, until they get approval, until some imaginary future moment when all the stars align. But here's the brutal truth. That moment doesn't exist. The right time is a myth created by fear masquerading as prudence. Every second spent waiting is a second you'll never recover, a piece of your potential permanently left unrealized. The clock is always ticking, indifferent to your excuses, while opportunities evaporate in the hesitation between someday and now. Procrastination disguises itself as logic. We tell ourselves we're being responsible by waiting for more information, better resources, or increased stability. But dig deeper and you'll find these are often just sophisticated excuses protecting us from the vulnerability of effort. It feels safer to plan forever than to risk imperfect execution. Yet history shows us repeatedly that impact isn't made by those who had everything figured out. It's made by those who started before they were ready and figured it out along the way. The first draft is always terrible. The initial prototype fails. The early performances are awkward, but these necessary stumbles contain the seeds of eventual mastery that perpetual preparation can never provide. Consider how nature operates. Seeds don't wait for perfect conditions to sprout. They push through cracks in concrete when necessary, adapting to their environment rather than demanding it adapt to them. There's a lesson here about the fundamental difference between those who accomplish things and those who merely dream about them. Successful people don't have fewer doubts or better circumstances. They simply understand that momentum creates clarity faster than contemplation ever can. Action generates data, feedback, and course correction opportunities that overthinking never will. The writer who waits for inspiration may wait forever, while the one who writes daily discovers inspiration in the work itself. Our modern world has exacerbated this tendency to delay with endless distractions disguised as productivity. We confuse research with progress, planning with execution, and busy work with meaningful effort. The digital age provides limitless opportunities to get ready, consuming content about success rather than creating it, polishing theoretical plans rather than testing actual prototypes. This creates the illusion of progress while reality remains unchanged. Meanwhile, those making real impact understand a counterintuitive truth. Starting before you're ready forces growth at a pace that comfortable preparation never could. Inadequate resources breed creativity, tight deadlines sharpen focus, public commitments raise standards. The pressure we avoid is often the very catalyst we need. There's also a compounding effect to early action that's frequently underestimated. Small efforts made consistently over time create exponential results invisible in the beginning. The person who starts investing early with modest amounts outperforms the one who waits for larger sums. The artist producing daily work surpasses the perfectionist hoarding unrealized ideas. This principle applies universally. Relationships built through consistent small gestures outlast dramatic but sporadic efforts. Skills developed through regular practice eclipse occasional intensive study. The advantage isn't in intensity, but in showing up daily, especially when no one's watching and the results seem insignificant. These invisible increments eventually reach critical mass while others are still waiting to begin. Perhaps most importantly, action creates evidence that disrupts limiting beliefs. Every time you move forward despite fear, you collect proof that you're more capable than your doubts suggest. This evidence becomes the foundation for increasingly bold moves, not because conditions improved, but because you did. The executive who fears public speaking doesn't overcome it by waiting for confidence to magically appear. They build it through repeated exposure. The aspiring entrepreneur doesn't suddenly feel ready for risk. They become comfortable with it through gradual steps outside their comfort zone. Waiting for readiness is like waiting to enter the ocean until you're dry. This understands the very nature of the experience. The harsh reality is that time amplifies every choice. The decision to act compounds just as powerfully as the decision to delay. 5 years from now, you'll have either the results of consistent effort or the regret of perpetual hesitation. The same energy spent rationalizing inaction could have been channeled into imperfect progress. This isn't about reckless haste, but recognizing that preparation has diminishing returns. At some point, further delay isn't wisdom, but avoidance. The most successful people aren't those who eliminated all risk, but those who understood that not risking anything was the greatest risk of all. They knew the perfect starting time isn't found on a calendar, it's created by the decision to begin. The moment of truth arrives when you finally understand that no external force will rescue you from your circumstances. This realization isn't depressing. It's the most liberating epiphany you'll ever have. When you stop waiting for permission, for the perfect mentor, for the system to change in your favor, you reclaim the power that was always yours. The world's most successful people share one common trait. They operated under the assumption that if anything was going to happen, they would have to make it happen themselves. Not because they were arrogant, but because they recognize a fundamental truth. Nobody cares about your dreams as much as you do. Not your parents, not your teachers, not some hypothetical benefactor, just you. And that's exactly how it should be.